Hello everyone, I'm Jon Rahm. This is my trainer Spencer Tatum, and we're gonna go today through one of my favorite warm-ups. I do it before every round. I do it almost every day, and it consists of basically warming up your core and glutes, you know, the king and queen muscles in the golf swing. And those days that we're all at home sitting down a lot is the first two that are gonna go. So getting your core, your abs activated is gonna be very, very important. So he's gonna guide me through it and explain to you guys what we're doing, and I'm gonna give you my personal input of what I feel, see if it helps out. The one thing you will need is an iron. Try to get a long iron. I have a 5-iron here, and you're gonna be using it throughout the whole exercise.
So this warm-up right here helps us not only to help Jon with his mobility, stability, but also prepare him to play. And we can also use it as a strength warm-up on the road too. So if you're at home, if you're sitting around, like a lot of times you're doing really tight hip flexors, playing a little Xbox. I know somebody likes to do that. But on the other side, it's kind of get everything back aligned before you get back, swing your golf club, or you get back in training session. So we're going to take you through it. So we're going to start with Jon's going to lay down his back. As you can see, he's got his 5-iron golf club, and what he's really trying to feel is that pelvic tilt. So he's really pushing the ground. He's going to take the club and apply a little bit of pressure to hold this core and hold it lock in. So he's going to breathe in, and he's going to push one down the whole time he's holding that midline as he's coming back up. So we're working stability right here of the core, but we're also working mobility of the hips. So Jon's going to demonstrate about 3 reps here, and as you can see, he's really focused on pushing that club, keeping pressure in the upper body and the lower body, and maintaining that stability. So after we kind of get this going, he's going to move to a bridge. So it's a core activation bridge, still using his 5-iron. Same concepts apply. He's going to try to hold that midline, create that pressure. Our feed-forward system. He's going to breathe in, he's going to bridge up, he's really focusing on extending that hip. I know a lot of us are going to want to arch that low back, right? Make sure you're really holding it here, you're driving to the ground, extend that hip. So Jon's going to do 3 reps. Notice the pressure is breathing, he's breathing out up top, breathing in, hold it, and then breathe in. So he's really working single leg strength on the lower leg and mobility of the hip, and he's working core stability up top. So now we're going to move, now we're going to start getting a little more T-spine mobility. So Jon's going to start right here. He's going to move right to left, feet are going to go opposite of the club. He's going to come back. He's really focused on that separation. Okay, how far can he go each way? And he's trying not to let that back arch. So he's trying to keep those knees in line with the hips. And he's trying to breathe out, breathe in, hold the breath in transition, breathing back out. We really like this in creating a separation for his golf swing, mobilizing his T-spine, and getting him ready to go.
This could actually be my favorite exercise. Very important to be focused on the timing of things. So you try to have your legs get to the limit at the same time as your club or your upper body get into the limit. If you go without sequence, it's kind of going to look like this, and you're not going to be working very well on what we're trying to accomplish. So it's also going to help you with timing and sequencing on your golf swing.
A little dissociation.
Exactly. Yeah.
So now,
followed by this one.
Followed by this one. Now this
I don't like it, by the way.
This right really helps him lock his midline in. The one thing we don't want is that reverse spine angle or the early extension. So Jon's going to really focus creating pressure with his top hand, with his lat. He's really pushing down right here and compressing the lower leg, breathing in, and he's trying to get as long as he can without losing that midline. So as it come in, breathe in, and breathe out. I should be able to touch right here, and he shouldn't be able to lose it. So notice the pressure he's putting into it. It's a lot of pressure, really working that compression force as we work and we're at impact.
It's very important to keep that pressure. You know, if you lose it, this arm is gonna get loose. You might arch your back. If you keep this pressure continuously going throughout the whole exercise, it's very hard to arch it, especially if you use that hip and push into the hand.
So now we'll do the other side, just so we're balanced out. And we're doing 3 to 5 reps here. So you can do 3 to 5 reps, and what you're really trying to get that feel. So notice how he's coming in, coming back, coming in, coming back, really keeping that everything locked up. And he's thinking about he's compressing the opposite shoulder to the opposite hip.
Exactly.
So, okay, so now we're gonna move a little bit more in our straight leg sit-ups.
There we go.
So, boom, really working, rolling. Think about we're going down, click, click, click down the vertebrae, and click, click, click on the way up.
Try to keep those arms above your head at all times. I'm impulsing a little bit. The stronger you are, the easier it would be. So essentially, try to keep them straight without really, abusing your arms to get up. It's going to be a really good way to get that ab connection again and really make it work and warm up.
And really prepare you for hip hinging, which is important for the setup.
Exactly. So we usually do somewhere between 8 or 10, whenever you feel you're warmed up to get to that point.
Good. So now we're going to start working up the chain, right? So you notice how we start on the back. Just like how we learned how to move, we're warming up in that same process. We're starting on the back, we're moving the arms and limbs. We started compressing midline, which is like our crawling pattern, and now we're getting a half kneeling transition period.
Yeah, so in this exercise, you basically start by relaxing back in your hip, right? Put a little bit of pressure down on the club, and then you basically drive through and try to extend that hip. Create this middle line, balance on the right hip, and just make sure it works. If you do it properly, you should feel a stretch on the hip while you're pressing down on the club, and you will feel that connection basically from your right shoulder all the way down to your right knee. And then you relax and keep that pressure on. Do it for maybe 2 seconds, maybe like 5 reps each side, and that should be enough.
Now notice how we're working on what we call the racket stack, right? Jon's racking it up and he's stacking it straight up. The one thing we don't want to see is for him to be wee and be back here.
Again, and all the previous warm-up is going to help, right? If you have all your core activated and working properly, you're not going to lose your back. Your abs are going to stay in there and make you just, you know, feel like a straight plank.
Yep. So do 3 more right here. And notice he's creating that when he comes up, he's pushing down first, and then he's driving that hip through, really getting that nice stack
You will
feeling.
feel, it's pretty similar to the dead bug, honestly. If you do it one-handed, it will be a very similar feel to that, with you pressing down with your arm and just feel the same connection.
Right. So now we worked in a transitional period, now we're going to standing, right?
Exactly.
Single leg stance, I'd say it's a little important.
Yeah. So now, RDLs. Not my favorite exercise. This is gonna be, it's hard to keep balance throughout doing them for most people. I struggle if I don't warm up properly or if I don't do anything for a week.
Yeah.
So basically you try to keep your arm extended, keep that pressure, put your toes up, keep that pressure between the legs, between the leg and the arm, and basically do a normal RDL. Try to go to parallel if you can. If you can, whatever you get to, but never lose that pressure between your arm and your leg.
Maybe Jon becomes a coach his next profession.
Highly doubt it.
But you notice he's really working those feet. So when you think of that bottom foot, when you're going down, you're gripping those toes in the ground to anchor that foot down. This will help with our sway and slide in our golf swing.
Whoop, see, that right leg is usually my nemesis.
And we're also really working on loading that right and left hip. Really, can you get right here as we're transitioning, bang, right here, so we can snap it and drive the ball.
Now, I also understand, you know, not everybody works out every day and not everybody is used to have the stability. Just work on it. If you fall a couple times, don't worry about it. Just try to work on it and feel how your body is warming up. And don't worry too much about the RDLs if you can't do it, just because it is a little bit more technical. So you just work up to it.
Because now we have all the joints involved, right? So now it's a higher level pattern, right? So the last thing we're going to work on is a little 2-legged hip hinge to get us ready to swing the golf club. So
for people that know, it's almost like preset to a deadlift. But try to keep your elbows open, not closed like this. Try to keep them open and try to keep the club touching your body as much as possible, and just hinge.
And what we're looking for is, can Jon keep his head, shoulder blades, and glutes all connected to the club as he's putting force in the ground and loading those hips. Now notice how his shin angle is staying nice and vertical. He's not going backwards where he's losing power. He's not going too much farther in that squat. Now this is a challenging pattern. It looks simple, but it's way more challenging than you think.
Try switching hands as well. And I would say, as soon as you feel the club leaving your body, so like you see, if I start bending my upper body without hinging, you'll see the bottom of the club and the grip will not be touching my spine. You're already wrong. So try to keep that butt pushing as much as possible until you feel the separation, and then is when you stop.
But Jon, how important is the breath when you do this, when you're breathing?
It's important to keep that tempo, right? So you could probably explain it better than I can, but just being able to breathe throughout it so you don't gas out, especially also in the golf swing, just having the proper breath at the right time. You know, you're not going to hit the ball while you're inhaling, so you kind of need to work on that as well. So basically, you hold your breath while you're doing, basically you inhale and you hold your breath while you're doing the challenging part, right? And then when you basically need to explode is when you exhale.
So easy way to think about this, breathe in for stability, holding that breath in transitional periods, and breathing out when you're getting mobility and power. So he's breathing in, holding that breath, breathing out, hard exhale up top. So very simple warm up. Just need a 5-iron, a mat if you have a hard ground or hard surface, and I think it kind of gets you ready to go.
Yeah, it's something everybody can do now that you're at home every day, especially if we're sitting down a lot, like most of us are, so you can't really do anything. It's gonna work out to at least not give you some back pain and avoid that, and just get some of the muscles working properly.
Yeah, and if you find in one area, we're normally looking at 3 to 5 reps on each side of each leg, or 3 to 5 reps on each movement. If you find that, hey, you know what, after 3 to 5, I don't really feel like I got it, do 2 or 3 more until you feel it. And if you feel like it's easy, it's no problem, do 3 and then just move on. It's more about the feeling and the quality of movement than the amount of volume. And you can do this 2 to 3 times a day or 1 time a day, and you'll see a major improvement in your mobility, stability, and it'll hopefully translate into swinging a better golf swing. Anything else?
No, that's it. I would say try to stay positive, stay at home, wash your hands, and let's hope we can get through this with positive attitude and improve